Yo, guys, good morning. Welcome into the stream. Chi-Town. Missed the streams in the morning. Switch back. I'm on the morning, bro. Just over on the OzJam channel. Guys, welcome in. As we are now approach Wednesday. So happy hump day to you. We're starting off with a DFS optimizer over at Prize Picks. Looking at the best 5 and 6 pick entries. How did it go for you yesterday? How'd it go for you on Tuesday? We only had 4 NBA games. It was a solid day for me. Very solid day. I totally forgot until I fired up my Fliff this morning that a 2-leg parlay that we cooked up yesterday on the stream ended up cashing for us. So we cashed this Rui Hashimura Buddy Hield. This was on my evening stream yesterday for $105. This is the last amount of money that I had left on Fliff. So I got a little extra pep in my step this morning. The unders come through. But so that was exciting. But we're looking at the best 5 and 6 pick slips right here. I'm just gloating a little bit because I was like, oh man, I think I had a slightly small winning day, and then I forgot to check that Fliff parlay, and I was like, oh, it's actually a little bit better, than I thought it was. So looking at some 5 and 6 pick entries, obviously tons of esports plays here. So I don't have any minimum data points set up at the moment. We're going to go through that here in a second, and I will showcase, if you like to go after, like myself, minimum data points, meaning, guys, we want at least 2 other sports books offering their odds or opinions on the play. Gives us just more opinions, just gives me more confidence. That's all. It just really also just depends on what you prefer. I didn't mean to click 12, but let's do 2 instead. So with 2, this would be kind of our top 5 or 6 pick plays on Prize Picks for if we want 2 minimum data points. Skunky, what's going on? Killed it yesterday. Nice to hear that, Juan. Good morning to Paul. I'm glad you guys are in now. That's kind of the new thing for not just this week, but moving forward for any OGs and DGens is that in the mornings, I'll be on the OzJam channel, and then in the evenings, I'll be streaming it. Like tonight, I'll be streaming at 6 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel. So glad you guys are able to stop by, and, don't expect you guys to be here for every stream, but just whenever you can make it. It's awesome to have you guys. So welcome in. Let's go over to Underdog. Let's take a look at we'll start off with 3 pick entries to see if there's any value first, and then we'll move over to 6 picks. With 3 pick entries, no insurance. Wow, yeah. This is what we kind of love, guys, with the optimizer, is that the esports, whether it's Call of Duty, League of Legends, there's like we're looking right here, CS2 Go. There really isn't much of an off season, I would say. I'm not super familiar with the esports calendar, but these guys are just playing all the time. There's always matches going on, and so when you live in a state that can utilize DFS, it really makes it for a fun time. So we're looking at 3 pick entries, no insurance. I don't have any minimum data points set up. These are all esports plays, and so when it comes to esports, you can see, like, at the moment, Sleeper's the only other sports book that's offering their opinions other than Parlay Playing Prize Picks for these ones. So if I were to put in minimum data points here, these would just disappear. So if you guys want to go after some of these plays, naturally, Wood and Hen, you can only add these guys once on a slip, but you can't add both of their first map headshots. I don't know why this is duplicated, unless these are 2 different matches. That's why. But solid plays. If we switch this over to let's say a 2 pick entry, no insurance, you're going to see that we actually have Hen and Wood, guys. You would want to play this in a 2 pick entry with no insurance. Doesn't happen very often, but it's been happening a bit more frequently looking through here. So if you guys like to play some 2 pick slips, you could you can make 2 different combinations here if you wanted to, since they're both playing 2 different matches today. If we go back over to 6 pick entries, which those are mathematically the easiest to go after, but obviously 6 picks, to hit all 6 picks is tough to do. If I throw in a minimum of 2 data points here, it's going to change quite a bit, right? So 6 pick entries, this is what you'd want to go after at the moment. No problem, Ramo. No problem at all. Did win the hedge bet, won $200. Just love that. We hit a play yesterday morning on this stream for San Jose State first half money line. It was like plus 575 odds. Because we were looking through the arbitrage tool on yesterday morning stream here in OzJam stream, and dude, I was like, the max wager that let me bet was $86, and we hit, the profit was just under $500 in profit for that. It was a late night game. I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was checking the score, and I'm like, holy smokes, San Jose State is up quite a bit on San Diego State in the first half. And then they end up pulling it off. So nice to have a long shot ticket hit as we're going to hop over to Better, take a look at some 5-pick entries. Waiting for Odds Jams Optimizer to kind of update the fact that I clicked on Better. Anytime you're ready. Anytime. There we go. Cool. 5-pick entries with 5-pick entries with insurance over at Better. Yeah, Cole, that's a good point. Yeah, Cole, you can tell me if I'm wrong because it's been 6+ months for me. Can you put Cole, even though it's 2 different matches, on that same slip, or do you have to divvy that up? Asking for a friend. So, Better 5-man entries, 5-pick slips, and again, this is quite juicy on Padula. If we change this to 2-pick entries with no insurance on Better, you're going to actually have a couple different options here if you want to rock a 2-pick slip, which is lovely to see that. And so the idea here is that, we're taking the under rebounds and assists on Sabonis, 24.5. Like FanDuel and DraftKings have this line at 22.5. And while DraftKings has it as basically a flip of a coin, a 50-50 chance at 22.5, we're getting 2 extra rebounds and assists, and we're going to bet the under. So this line is just too high over at Better, and we can take the under. So nice to see a 2-pick entry here for Better if you guys want some of that. We will check out Flip here in a second. We'll go over to Parlay Play, dabble, take a look at Vivid Picks. For anyone that uses Parlay Play, top plays here at the moment. Looks like the Jalen Wilson play is quite solid, but only Hot Streaks offering this at minus 325 here at the moment. Let's take a look at Dabble, and then we'll look at DraftKings Pick 6 as well. Wow, a lot of good value for Dabble for 5-pick entries. I'm going to start off with, let's see if there's any 2-pick entries with no insurance. Ho-ho! So again, with Padula again and Sabonis, so this is kind of similar. If you guys have Dabble also with Kawhi, these are 2-pick entries with no insurance. Kind of nice to see. We don't have this often. It's a pretty solid slate of NBA games today. Fired up about that. College hoops, basketball's is taking over now. This is February, March. This is where basketball takes over. Football's now basically, done for the season outside of the Super Bowl. And so we kind of get into just now all basketball with obviously some hockey as well. So this is Dabble 2-pick entries. And if we wanted to rock a 3-man entry with no insurance, a ton of options here. And so like I've mentioned before, when I get back to Arizona, if I see a board like this, granted, it's a lot of Sabonis and Kawhi Leonard. I'll scroll down just a little bit here to show some other plays. If I see a board like this for Dabble 3-pick entries with no insurance, I would just start to make a lot of different combinations. So if I had $50, I would just start chopping up my $50 like if it was on Underdog, minimum $5 entry, and I would just make 7, 8 different combinations of slips here, kind of spread the wealth. And normally, like for maybe Yves Missy here, on his under 8 rebounds, I would add him on 2, maybe 3 slips tops. So 2 or 3 different combinations of slips. So whether I went Missy, Towns, Diggins, that's one slip. Then maybe I'd go Murphy, Leonard, Missy. That's another slip. And then I kind of might back away then from adding Missy again. Let's take a look at maybe DraftKings Pick 6. Yeah, Cole, it breaks my heart. Weekends now. This is when I forget just how awesome the weekends are when there was college football and NFL football. Because now my Saturdays, there's still purpose with college basketball, but it's just kind of on Sundays, I'm like, what is life right now? So I don't know. Do we start to get into the USFL? Do we kind of get into that? I'm not quite sure what to do, or just we start watching more PGA golf. I like watching golf every night. I love watching the majors, but if it's no offense, it just was on recently, the Farmers Open, I'll watch it for 10 minutes and then I'll just take a nap on the couch and I'll leave it on to help me take a snooze. And I love playing golf myself. It was actually my undergraduate degree in college was golf course management. So I love golf. Looking at Vivid Picks, 5 picks with insurance. And guys, if we've already maybe passed your DFS book that you're looking for, we're going to come back to this later on the stream and kind of go through it all. But yeah, it's just, I can't, it's hard for me to get excited, especially with Live Golf coming into the fold over the last couple of years. I like Brooks Koepka, I like Tiger, there's just some of the names just aren't there like before. So hard to get into it. Yeah, Cole, it's I'll watch NBA playoffs because they actually play defense. But I don't disagree that it's tough to kind of get into the NBA. Let's take a look at Fliff. Let's look at some Fliff plays. We'll look at rebet plays, and then we'll also look at no vig and profit X. So over here on Fliff, some of these plays that immediately are on the board look a little juicy to me. Anything that's like minus 250 to minus like 1,000, I'm not as interested in playing. So my eyes kind of immediately look at like Harden and Peyton Pritchard here. Seeing that Pinnacle has this at minus 211, minus 185, looks like we're getting decent value to start off. We don't have anything for FanDuel here at the moment, but these are, again, both unders. So we're going to throw on a little two-leg parlay. Over on Fliff, I got about $600. So NBA, let's look for the Bulls and the Celtics. Pritchard under 4.5 assists. All right. At minus 135, we're getting a very good price, obviously, compared to Pinnacle. Now, Pinnacle isn't the end-all, be-all for sharp sports books when it comes to player props, but they are, I put a little bit more faith in them than maybe, let's say, Caesars. And then we're looking for Harden under on his assists. So this is basically an assist two-leg parlay that we're running here. I'm going to go ahead. This is just a plus 186, not crazy. It's my favorite two-leg parlays are my favorite. So I'm going to go in for 150 on this one. Just grabbing two plays. Looks like the Pritchard play moved to minus 145. So honestly, because that's a decent price jump for me, I'm not as interested in playing this Pritchard play. We got anything else as I scroll down a little bit? Yabusele. There's quite a few bit of odds here. 142. Let's throw in Yabusele under on his rebounds. So we'll switch that up. We'll go with Yabusele here. I think are they on the road or I can't remember. The Sixers are at home. All right, player props. We're looking at rebounds. Again, a little early in the morning to bet player props. Typically, my favorite time to bet player props is an hour to an hour and a half before the games start. But I like to get a little two-leg parlay out there. So there we go. Again, more unders, but Harden and Yabusele both on their unders right here. And this is a Fliff play. I cannot add this since I made a parlay over here. I can't add this to a parlay here on my bet tracker, but I will go over to OddsJam later and just add these two as plays on the bet tracker. But the reason that we love this so much, we're getting a great price over Fliff at minus 115 odds. And a lot of sportsbooks think this should be minus 130-ish as the average odds. So I like that a lot. Scroll down just a bit more for anyone else. I like to have a lot more data points. So more data points gives me, again, more confidence. Like with this Eves Missy play, minus 105. We're getting this at minus 128 on FanDuel. It's 121 over at Pinnacle. So this actually isn't all that bad of a play. The OddsJam optimizer might not think that it's very EV, but because I put more emphasis on FanDuel and on Pinnacle, I like this a bit more. I forget, he's with the Pelicans, right? Bingo. And then we're looking for his player props. So I'm not going to go crazy. I'll just go $100 on this, but I do like this at the price that we're receiving. Heck, we'll go 105 just to make my $100 in profit. There we go. All right, so Missy again, more unders on his under 7.5 rebounds over on Fliff. And I'll be able to throw this in the bet tracker since this is just a straight wager. Let's take a look at rebet. All right, so over at rebet at the moment for this collegiate player prop, this is very juicy. Seems like we're getting an incredible price at minus 380, though Bet Online is not as bullish on this play. For collegiate player props, guys, for myself, it was when they first came on the scene like about a month ago in terms of being added to the OddsJam ecosystem. This was a market that I would wager into. I've kind of backed off a lot. This is one market that I really don't go after much with collegiate player props. It's hard enough for me to stay consistently to beat NBA player props. I don't really know. I'm just not a fan of collegiate player props, at least for basketball. Football wasn't bad this year, actually. It wasn't too shabby at all. But maybe like on this Richmond play on the under 137.5, this looks decent. When you're looking at FanDuel, DraftKings, and maybe Caesars, I would have a bit more confidence if BetOnline or Pinnacle posted odds for this play. But at the moment, I don't mind it. I am very limited on a rebet, but if you guys want to go after this, totally fine with that. Let's take a look at maybe Prop City really quick, too, for a rebet. So for Prop City, and again, you can kind of mess around with these data points and odds range, guys. If you want to kind of stick to something that's a bit more realistic, we could say, I don't know, maybe 125. And then for my minimum odds, I could set this up for let's say a minus 150. So somewhere between plus 125 and minus 150 if you want to go after this. So here would be some different plays. The first thing that I kind of look for is, does Pinnacle have any odds? Does FanDuel have odds? Does any plays here? And right here for maybe Jalen Hurts or DeRozan or Dallas Goedert, there's some more opinions here that I would get a bit more excited about. Especially here maybe on DeRozan under on assists. It's minus 108 on FanDuel. All the other books think this should be at minus 120, minus 125. It's not quite a low hold to FanDuel, this play on rebet. It's slightly negative EV, but I would have to see where FanDuel has the other side to this DeRozan play. But again, just when I come down here, I'm like, I'm a little bit more interested in these plays because of all the different opinions. Whereas for De Jong on his shots, there's just underdog that's offering these odds and prize picks. So not bad though. You can get the over here for 2.5. Let's take a look at No Vig, and then we'll head over to ProfitX and we'll see what we got going on. So the same thing here with No Vig and ProfitX, especially these exchanges. We talk about how these exchanges are awesome to use for arbitrage betting, and they are. For placing single or straight bets, it's a little trickier sometimes for myself. So that's where I really lean on BetOnline, Pinnacle, and FanDuel when I'm looking at this board right here to see, okay, well, this is plus 101 on Koulibaly. Plus 181. Eyes were playing tricks on me. Got to go to the eye doctor. Stay hot, Billy. Plus 181 over here. This looks solid to Pinnacle in the BetOnline, but it's okay to FanDuel. So I kind of look for bigger gaps. And one here might be right here on Dosunmu under on his points. Not bad to FanDuel or Pinnacle or BetOnline. I'm interested in this on his under on his points. So unfortunately, Novig doesn't offer a desktop website, at least not yet. And if they do, let me know in the chat, guys. But I'm just going to come over here to the NBA, and I'm first going to make sure that there's some liquidity available in this play before I just go ahead and smash it. Yeah, so this is one of those plays where when I share with you guys, it could be all gonzo, but we'll see. There's $119, right? So I'm going to take the full $119. And you normally got to move fast with this, right? So, but this is an example where this is where something I really like this. I like it. I wouldn't say I really like it. I like it a decent amount compared to where FanDuel, Pinnacle, and BetOnline is. Now, typically what I've found, and this is just my own 2 cents, is a play like that where there's only $119 out there in liquidity. I think that's a really, really good play to grab. If I see a play out there that has $6,000 of liquidity, not saying it's not a good play. It just makes me stop and scratch my head a little bit more. So over on maybe Harrison Barnes, plus 121 to plus 110, it's okay. It's pretty solid, though, to Pinnacle and BetOnline. So maybe a little Harrison Barnes if we wanted this action. I immediately kind of just bypass some of these Murray plays because I want to take a look at this Joker play. Same thing. Maybe a little bit more interested in De'Aaron Fox on his over on his threes, where this is 140, 144, 139. I kind of like this a little bit more on his over player-made threes. Even though this is a bit of a longer shot play, let me scroll down and look at the Kings game, and we'll look at him. They've been talking about chatter with trying to trade Fox. So currently at the moment, there's about $12 available. I'm not going to go after that, but if you guys want to bet that, naturally you can. There's just there's not too much liquidity at the moment. And that's kind of what's been going on with exchanges, at least early in the morning like this, guys. The liquidity is a bit less. As we get closer to game time, it just explodes. Activity explodes. Everyone's more excited with when the games are starting soon, there's just a lot more bettors logging on to try to place some bets. If we come over to ProfitX, it's basically same song and dance as No Vig. Immediately, my eyes kind of look to the San Antonio Spurs plus 2.5 point spread. This is not very good to Pinnacle at all. Pinnacle has the same exact odds. So I'm not as interested in this, even if maybe some of the other recreational sports books are like, yeah, this is a good play. One of my sharp sports books doesn't think this is a really good play. It's not EV. There's no gap to this. So I'm not very interested. And that's how I've kind of just been, I'm just much pickier. Now here on maybe the over on Loyola Maryland versus Bucknell, two smaller schools. Bet online -110, Pinnacle -115. We can get this at +104 odds. This does have a small edge. I am interested in this over on Loyola and Bucknell. So over here on Profit X, let's go to college hoops. Do a little Control F, Bucknell. And we're looking for the over 138. So you can see at the moment, there's about $416 out here. So I'm not going to grab it all. I'll grab a little bit. So I'm just going to go in for 150 on this. Now, when you come over to the optimizer, you're going to see that the odds are already changed to +104. And again, if you're new to how exchanges work, they make money based off of, assuming there's liquidity, there we go. They make money based off of, if you win a bet, they take a little cut off the top. So OddsJam automatically recalculates the odds for you with ProfitX and tells you, well, if you win this bet, you're not getting paid out of +107 odds because ProfitX is going to take a little cut. You're going to get paid out of +104 odds, but it's still a solid play. So we get that in for $150. There's still some liquidity out there, guys, if you want to tail the over 138 on Bucknell and Loyola, Maryland. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'll pause there for on ProfitX. Let's take a look at the arbitrage tool. We'll come back to Prize Picks, Underdog, Better, Parlay Play, Dabble, all of them. So we'll come back there in a little bit. Again, placing two bets with two books, making risk-free cash. This is how I started out way back in the day. Now, obviously, I've been doing this for 3.5 years. I'm quite limited at the moment with certain sports books, but there's still some awesome opportunities. Or there's a new book like this, like with Onyx, right? They're a FanDuel skin. They copy FanDuel's odds. Anytime that the plus odds are bigger than the minus odds, we can make risk-free cash. If you want to set your filters up, right, so that you only want to go after plays that are maybe a minimum of 3% edge or higher, go ahead and do that. Just make sure that you click Save Filter, right? Choose the sports books that you're going after. I have all my Pennsylvania sports books teed up at the moment. I have all the markets selected, and I'm just focused on today, right? That's the little subtle thing that people don't know, or the people that just don't truly understand sports betting that make fun of you for arbitrage betting and going after plays that have a 1.3% edge is what they don't realize is that edge compounds daily, right? Like you're going after plays today, even if it only has a 1% edge, you're going to make a return off that investment within less than 24 hours. Then you're going to be able to take that return and then reinvest it in the market tomorrow. And that really adds up, especially when you start wagering or arbitrage betting a lot of money. That little 1%, 1.5% makes a lot of sense. So in a snapshot, one wager where you're making like $5 profit or $3 profit off of a 1% edge or a 1% return might not seem like a lot, but when you start to do that every single day, that really adds up. So you just come down here to click Save Your Filter. You could call it whatever you want, right? And then just click Push Notifications and click Save. And then you're automatically going to be notified when there's plays out there. Now, what I like to do is I don't set a minimum percentage because just like with that San Jose State money line play yesterday, I like to find straight wagers on this as well. New sportsbook that was added into the OddsJam ecosystem is called Every Game. I have not signed up with them. I'm going to today after this stream ends. But there's some new books being added into OddsJam, and Onyx is another one. So if you don't live in a state where you can use FanDuel to wager on, this is a FanDuel skin. A lot of times they copy FanDuel's odds. And this gives you this is a social sports book, sweepstakes book like Fliff, Rebet Thrills. Onyx is another book. So now you have access to FanDuel's odds through a different sports book. Or if you're just limited on FanDuel, now you have a new sports book with fresh limits. So right here would be an example like on the point spread here with Omaha and South Dakota. If this was the play, this would have been a ARB to FanDuel. I would have just bet this straight up. Omaha plus 1.5. I would have taken that as a straight wager. Let me click refresh. Thoughts on withdrawals, Mark? If I drained a book to zero, is it fine to withdraw from one of your winning books to fund? Yeah, I think so. I don't. Maybe there's an idea out there. From all of my conversations with people, and some people that I think that are quite sharp in the community, I don't feel that the sports books, if you make a withdrawal here or there, like once every couple weeks with a sports book, I don't feel that impacts your limits at all as a bettor. It's your money. You need it when you need it. Now, naturally, the sports books like to see someone that deposits money quite frequently. So I would say, but I don't see withdrawals as an issue. I've done it before. I don't think it's helped the fact that I've become limited. I think the fact that I make money off that sports book is the reason why I get limited. Now, I will say this though, and this is just a tip that I like to use. Let's say that you're looking to deposit $100, $250, $500 on a sports book. Okay. Instead of depositing, now this depends. I do a lot of positive EV betting. I mix in some arbitrage betting. Since we know that the sports books love to see you make multiple deposits, right? Sometimes especially when I sign up with new accounts, if I know that I'm going to deposit $200 into a sports book, instead of me depositing $200 in one shot with a new sports book, I'll deposit $40 or $50, and then I'll wait, place a couple bets, and then I'll make another deposit. And then I'll make another. So instead of putting a one lump sum of a deposit at $200, I try to showcase activities to the sports book like I'm a casual degenerate bettor. And so I end up making, that $200 deposit and maybe $50 chunks 4 times. And so that's just something I like to share with you guys in terms of deposits. I try to show that hey, I'm just a casual sports bettor. I try to show them the characteristics of someone that loves to just bet a lot. So if I know that I'm going to deposit $100 or $200 or $500, I chop that up into smaller increments and make multiple deposits over the course of a couple days to show them that I just I don't have any, it's sad to say, I don't have any control. It's the point that I'm trying to get across to them, when in reality I am. That's what they like to see. But as long as you're maybe not making 3-4 withdrawals within a couple of days, yeah. No, so if you're going to make a withdrawal, just make one larger withdrawal instead of a bunch of smaller withdrawals. That would be my. So it's kind of the opposite with deposits and withdrawals, in my opinion. But it's a good question. But I don't think, now again, it's not like I've ever talked to, as we know, anyone that, when you have someone that works on maybe ESPN Bet, Rebet, or Bet365, all of these books work differently, right? They profile their customers similarly in terms of a sharp or a casual. But, and you have to talk to a trader that works at each sports book to find out exactly their process. And that's obviously very difficult to do, to get that information. So it's just kind of a best guess scenario. At the moment, there isn't any examples maybe that I could go through. Ooh, maybe Moses Moody. This is a smaller one, but this would be over at Rebet and FanDuel. Let me log in over at FanDuel. Let me take a look at this. Let me get over here, and then we're going to throw this up over at Fliff. Right? Not maybe the largest example here of an ARB, but again, it adds up at the end of the day. It just depends on what you're willing to go after. Some guys just want to go after the big, fat, juicy ARBs. Others don't care, and they will grind their, even if they get limited with certain accounts, they'll still grind those down to a nub. So it looks like Moody doesn't show up here, and that's all right. Sometimes you have to get a little creative. Fliff, for some reason, doesn't show. I got to see if it maybe I wonder if they pulled everything from Moody. Sometimes you have to go to a different category to find him. And so let's say maybe combos. Is he available here at all, or did they just pull all his lines? Looks like they may have pulled all his lines. Let me refresh this. That's kind of a shame. Ooh, wait a minute. Clippers? Halliburton? Okay, I'm interested. Let's pull up this Halliburton play. We're looking at his over-under on his rebounds. Profit X would have the over 3.5 at 116. So let's go up to the NBA. And let's take a look at this. Rebounds. Yeah, so this is, yeah, exactly. If I'm on the OddsJam stream and there's only $121, there's no way that I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that liquidity. But whoever did snag it up, there was some liquidity there with Halliburton. Unfortunately, now if there's like $5,000 available, I'd be very excited. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But we had a play there with Profit X and Caesars that I'm really excited about. Same thing here with, it would have been MGM. And that's just how it goes sometimes, guys. But there's less liquidity available on these exchanges. It's a dogfight. You're going after others to try to grab this, so it can be a little bit difficult. Anytime, like I mentioned before, though, that you can see an ARB to pinnacle, whether it's this Euro Basketball Cup, these are plays that normally I like to go after for straight bets. I don't know why Moses Moody's showing up. If you guys can find this on Fliff, let me know, but I can't seem to find it. Let me take a look at the middles tool while we're just kind of bopping around a little bit. What was the name of the new sports book again? It's called Every Game Block. So I've seen their logo over the last couple of years. They've been around for a while. They just got added, though, to the Odds Jam. Odds Jam's been adding some more books. They've been adding some more onshore books. They've been domestic books. They've been adding more offshore books. So that's what I love about Odds Jam is they don't really just rest on their laurels. They're constantly adding more sports books. You heard Alex say, but more books equals more opportunities, and which puts more money in your pocket. So I'm excited to see that. So for this middles page, guys, it's maybe not a tool. I will be very honest. This is a page that I've neglected a lot when I first signed up with OddsJam. I didn't even know what this page did or what it was for probably the first year and a half that I used OddsJam. All I did was arbitrage and then positive EV bet, and I had no idea what middle betting was. But in this example with Kawhi Leonard, assuming that there's some liquidity available here, if he lands exactly on the under 25 points, rebounds, and assists, then your $135 wager is going to push on ProfitX. You'll get your money back, but you're going to hit the over at BetMGM. No matter though what happens, this is a 2.5% ARB. This is a really solid ARB. So if you wanted to put down a total of $285, you're going to make $7 and change, whether he gets 3 total points, rebounds, and assists or 30 total points, rebounds, and assists. It doesn't matter. You're going to make money. But if he lands exactly on 25, you push on ProfitX, get your money back, and win the bet on BetMGM. So this is how we like to use middle betting. And a lot of times, this is very good. You normally don't see a middle maybe as this high. But the idea, again, is you're just going to come over here. Maybe you don't want to set it at 0.01. Maybe it's like 1%. That's where I would say is a good, not a bad starting ground is either 1% or maybe 1.5% to 2%. And then you just set up your sports books with whatever you want. Kalshi's another one that they were recently added. It's a trade prediction. That and Polymarket was recently added, so check them out. Kalshi's not, you can't really bet player props or anything like that. You can bet futures like NFL MVP. You could bet like money lines when it comes to the game. There's not a ton of markets out there because you can bet like on celebrities and politicians as well. So Kalshi's a little bit different, but it's a newer book that was added. Same with Polymarket as well. So some different books that were added in here, but this is the middle betting tool. Let's go over the positive EV tool. For every game, there are no validations needed to deposit, but if you have to jump through a few hoops, KYC and the pictures and address validation to get a withdrawal, watch the playthrough details. Appreciate that insight, Mike. That's very kind of you to mention that. Yeah, Ben, I can understand what you're saying. I mean, the hardest part with fantasy middles is that you're trusting that, with DFS that, the books, that the source of truth is in the middle. I think it's it's maybe another strategy you can employ. That type of middle betting that we just went through, that naturally, you could see that. Oh yeah, we're making money no matter what happens with a chance to make a solid profit. Though it's a small window, you can still at times hit it. But yeah, with DFS, it's a little bit of a strategy almost. If you believe that the books don't know where to set the lines, then you just go after and make a lot of middle slips. But with DFS middling, there is no guarantee that you're going to win, but that's the idea. So we're looking over here on the positive EV tool. I use this tool in a variety of different ways. If you guys have seen any of my videos before, whether it's on OddsJam's channel or my YouTube page, I use this in a lot of different ways, but I try to use it in different ways to showcase to you the different ways that you can use it. Wasn't maybe the worst use of English there, William. So we're maybe go to 150. I've went up to 200. 175, 150. I've been kind of chilling at 150. Kind of depends on what month you watch me streaming and where I'm comfortable at. Sports books, like again, these are all the American books that I have selected for myself here in Pennsylvania. It's going to change on where you live. Your books are going to be different if you live in New Hampshire compared to Pennsylvania, just like if you live in New Jersey or Colorado. Markets, I got everything selected. Now, minimum percentage, set this up for a 3% minimum. Right, we want at least like something that's somewhat decent. DVIG settings. I am going after Pinnacle right now. I'll switch over to the OddsJam recommended book weights, and I'm on the power default method. I like to use, like for anytime goal scorers, I like to use additive. Maybe for a guy to hit a home run in baseball, I like to use additive. I like to use worst case. Best case is probably the only method that I don't use. It's a bit more aggressive. Every now and then I'll mess around with it, but not too much. If you have questions, guys, obviously DM me or email me if you have any questions at all. Don't be afraid to reach out. So Again, you can also set this up for your DFS books. So like maybe on Rafi here, this looks pretty decent for him to not score a goal, over on underdog. This Pinnacle thinks it should be minus 205 odds. And so you're getting a great price playing this on any underdog slip, whatever you want to play it. 2-man, 3-man, whatever the case may be, this is a solid play. But maybe on Karl Anthony Towns, and while I do think that FanDuel is quite sharp when it comes to player prop bets for the NBA, earlier in the morning, I don't mind. Every now and then you'll catch him slipping, right? This is an ARB to bet online, which I think is another very sharp offshore book. We can get this over at Onyx. We can get this over at FanDuel, right? So what I'm going to do in this scenario is I'm actually going to bet this over at Onyx. I'm going to share my phone with you guys. Now with Onyx, they only offer a mobile website. So what I mean by that is there's no app. There isn't an app. You can't go on your desktop. You have to go on Safari or Chrome on your phone on the internet. That's how you can find these plays. So let me go back to home and let's go to the NBA. Let me find this play first before I go ahead and share my screen. Where's the Knicks and the Nuggets? And we're looking for the over on rebounds with Cat. He's obviously going to be fighting with Joker quite a bit for these. All right, let's go ahead and share my phone. Now, OddsJam would have me wager a lot of money on this play as we're looking for points. I scroll down a little bit. This is Onyx, so this is over 12.5. I'm not going to, you see I have about $546 in this account. I'm not going to go after maybe that $900. I'll throw down, though, a $250 spot because it's an ARB to bet online. This is a little bit juicier of a play. There was an issue placing my bet. Try again. Let's try it again. That's interesting. Let's do a quick refresh once more. Maybe they changed the odds. Maybe they realized they screwed up. Maybe I've only placed like 3 bets on this book, and this was my largest wager, no doubt. Maximum stake is $242.71. All right, then I'll take it. Interesting. Okay, Onyx. So they wouldn't let me wager for 2. And just so you guys know, I've placed 3 bets on this book before that. That's my 4th wager I've ever placed on Onyx. And all the other previous wagers were less than $250. So interesting. 242.71 is what we're in on for this play. That's a little disheartening, I would say. But player props is going to be the first area where maybe you're going to experience some limits, but interesting. Oh, Irish, dude, you're going to love it out there, bro. Love it. Devin, man, we got you with Prize Picks, man. We're going to get there. We're going to go back over there and hit it. Ooh, I don't know. When we went to go hit this Pritchard play up earlier, they changed it to minus 145. I don't know, maybe if they switch back. We'll have to see. Oh, also, Fordham money line. This looks very, very good. Want to grab that. So this is an ARB with no VIG to Pinnacle when it comes to Keegan Murray under on his points. So, this is like a dead, just an absolute go. It's not bad, maybe a Profit X. It's okay. But if we can get this at no VIG, I would much prefer grabbing this play at no VIG instead. And one thing that I'm not doing, guys, with this Onyx Sportsbook, I'm not priming the account at all. Okay, I'm not placing some parlay bets. I'm just going after them right away. So there's about 200, and I'm not going to grab it all. I'm just going to grab $100 here, assuming that I can. There's about $214. So you guys, there's still should be 100 and some bucks available. There's $114 available, guys, at this under 10.5 points at plus 145. If you want to grab it, go grab it. Didn't take it all, just took a little bit. But we grabbed $100 on Keegan Murray. And so I like that quite a bit. And I definitely want to look at this Fordham moneyline play really quick before I go back over to the optimizer. Fordham moneyline over at any Canby Sportsbook right now. So my sharp books, Pinnacle loves this. It's okay to Circa. It's quite good, though, to Bookmaker and Bet Online. I like this. So let me go ahead and fire this up over at Sugar House because it's one of the remaining Canby Sportsbooks that I can utilize as I'm very limited on Bet Rivers. This is the Bet Rivers Casino over in Philadelphia. That's why when I drive down to the city of Pittsburgh to go to Rivers Casino, I get very excited because I do not show a player's card. I don't show anything. I just go to the kiosk, put about $1,000 in there, smash about 3 or 4 player prop bets for $250 to $300 each, and say, Thank you. Looks like, unfortunately, though, Fordham, as expected, the money line changed to plus 130. I'm not interested anymore. Really, there isn't any other interest for me in betting this. Actually, JuiceBet has a pretty good price. That's an offshore sports book. And another new book that is offshore called BetMania was added to the mix. So as I mentioned before, guys, OddsJam's constantly adding new sports books into the mix. If you guys want to maybe grab some Josh Hart over on rebounds, dude grabs like 15 rebounds every game. I just bet Cat on his rebounds, but this is a low hold to Pinnacle, which is a solid indicator. And it's really just off compared to everybody else. When this price is significantly above Fanatics, and I believe Fanatics is one of the easiest sports books to beat, yeah, we want this. I want this all day long. Problem is I'm limited to about like $3 bets on player props for DraftKings, but it's solid. All right, so we got some different options here. Maybe I'll take, that's okay. We'll move on. Let me go back over the optimizer. We'll show some prize picks and some underdog. Hi, OddsJam. Can you send me your info on how to customize my EV? Let's start. Well, I mean, I've made customize your EV. I mean, just like go through your, I mean, like as you saw right there, man, like on the filters, like that, there's just some different filters that I like to utilize. Every live stream, if you go back to my YouTube channel, every live stream, I go through my filter setup. If you check out any videos that I've made about strategy videos, like NBA betting strategies, college football, anything at all, it'll talk you through. I go through my filters on every video to make sure to show you guys how I set it up. So, normally for your market width, you're going to get some different responses, 40 cents, 30 cents. Let's throw in 2 minimum data points here on prize picks. Then I'll do a little scrolling. Okay, 2 minimum data points here on prize picks, but normally, 40 cents market width is fine. If you want to drop it down to 30 cents, I'm good with that as well. And then, EV percentage, I would say at least above 2%, but I like to go 3 and just kind of going after those plays. And then your odds range, if you want to stick that to, like I mentioned before, I go maximum plus 150. If you want to drop that to plus 130, I like to go after plays in that plus 100 to plus 140 range a lot. So I don't like to really go below that. So that's why I keep it at plus 150. I think there's a lot of value where the books just, especially when you talk about like plus 110s, plus 120s, some of these books don't really understand how to price this. And so I like to go after those. Let's go over to Underdog and let's take a look let's start off with some, we talked about this before. There's some 2-pick entries, no insurance. Don't see this too often. 2-pick entries, no insurance, guys, on Underdog. You can rock these plays right here. We talked about Rafa. We saw him on the EV tool. Pops up again on the optimizer. Again, guys, I'm utilizing the Platinum plan with OddsJam. So if you sign up for a 1-week free trial, even if you know that you might not be able to swing the price, at least try it 1 week for free. Get access to all the bells and whistles so that you can fully take advantage of everything that OddsJam has to offer. And then, if you use my promo code Billy35, it's going to save you 35% off your first month after the trial ends. But if you're going to try it 1 week for free, ask for the Platinum plan and just take a look at it. And then just, if all you can handle is the free trial, cancel before the trial ends. Not going to cost you a dime. And that's how when I first started with OddsJam in terms of like getting started on the software, I did the 1 week free trial, and then I tried to bargain and negotiate. I was like, I'm close. I think, can you just give me like another 2 or 3 days with this? Right? I try to squeeze as much juice out of that orange as I possibly could get when I was talking to Randall 3.5 years ago, being like, hey man, can you hook me up? Like I need some help here. So don't be afraid to negotiate with the guys when you talk to them in the chat, because they're willing to help you out. And I want you guys to extract as much value as you can off of that free trial, so that you guys can make a lot of money before you start paying. 3-pick entries, no insurance. Let's go 2. We got 2 minimum data points. Let's throw 2 in. Let's see what the price. Oh yeah, whoa, that was big. That was a big jump. Okay. So if you don't mind not taking any plays without, maybe you just have one other sports book that's offering their opinion. There's a lot of esports plays that are out here, but if you'd like at least minimum 2 data points, maybe not the best recommendations. Let's take a look at better 5-man entries. Ernie, that's a good question. The Platinum plan does not include the Fantasy Optimizer. This is a standalone product. The Platinum plan does include the sportsbook screen for live betting. I think that the Platinum plan is awesome if you're looking to get into live betting. If you're maybe looking to get into maybe offshore books, I think it's awesome. The speeds are refreshed. The speeds are incredible when it comes to the Platinum tool. And obviously, as you saw there, like every game was added for domestic books. It's really nice to see that. But, because I've started to migrate more towards live betting, where I've just seen some really incredible edges. There's a new YouTube video, guys, on my new video on my YouTube channel that I dropped yesterday. I go through some live betting examples, arbitrage and positive EV. So that's where I really enjoy the Platinum plan the most. And then naturally, you just have all the tools and the odds graph. Like for player prop betting, you guys have seen me go through the odds graph. That's where I find a lot of value because I could see where like certain books are moving. We hit up on, if you look on yesterday evening stream on my channel, Connor Hellebuck. We hit his over on his goalie saves in the Jets game. And I broke down that example thanks to the odds graph. And it was a big indicator to help me like win that bet for sure. So there's some different examples where I really think the Platinum plan is awesome. But it is a step up, no doubt about it. And so make sure that you're ready to make that commitment. And I'm not just talking from from out of your wallet, but like time-wise, investment. It is a bit of a commitment. So make sure that you're ready for that before you just kind of jump onto it, because don't want your eyes to get bigger than your stomach, right? Parlay play, just one opportunity over here on Sabonis. I think the optimizer is really great for people that live in California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, where there isn't maybe you're in like Idaho, maybe where sports betting isn't quite legalized. And shout out to anyone that lives in Idaho if you're in the chat right now. If you have these DFS books, you don't maybe have access to FanDuel or DraftKings, then I think the price point here with the optimizer is really, really nice in terms of getting access to all of this. And you can still play straight wagers, right? You don't have to just make DFS slips. So I don't need to throw in 2 minimum data points here on Dabble. There's a lot of Dabble value at the moment. Man, am I excited to go down and see my dad in Florida, and then also excited to fire up Dabble and get this thing going. There you go, Hector. Nice to hear that. Block, what do I live bet on? So I live bet on mostly the major sports. It's one of my favorite things. Juan, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, the broke even or in the red using the optimizer. Yeah, so what you're going to see is, especially if you're using DFS books, all these DFS books, I don't care if it's Underdog, Prize Picks, Parlay Play, they're all some type of parlay sports book, basically, right? You have to place at least 2 legs or more on all these books outside of Fliff and Rebet, right? And Thrills, No Vig and Profit X. But a lot of these plays like Vivid Picks, these are all parlays. So parlays, what you're going to notice is there's going to be much more variance that you're going to deal with, meaning that, if you've ever taken a look at like Alex, like at his DFS books, like you'll see that you're going to go on maybe some losing streaks, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit like 1 or 2, and you get all that money back plus a lot more. So there's a lot of variance involved betting on parlays because, well, naturally, you got to have a lot happen in order to win. So you're going to lose more than you win from a win-loss perspective. But when you do win, you're going to get all that money back and then some. So what you're going to notice with a parlay chart of thinking of like a Pickett graph, it's just going to be a lot of peaks and valleys. It's not going to be as steady as if you're placing straight bets on a Fliff or a Rebet. And that's kind of the idea is that with parlays, you're in for a wilder ride with parlays. They are very lucrative. You can make a lot of money. Sharp sports bettors, I use parlays all the time, but there's more peaks and valleys when it comes to it. And so that's the only kind of issue sometimes with DFS is that if you live in a state where you're going after some of these plays, and we'll showcase Sleeper at the moment, it's a little bit tougher at times. Can you load up for me, please, for Sleeper? Yeah, exactly with that. I agree. What DFS book have I made the most profit on? So I had I would say Underdog. I would say definitely Underdog over Prize Picks for myself. I still have a long ways to go when it comes to the DFS books, but it was like one of my even though I'm moving back to Arizona, where's this at? So this was obviously, I moved away. I left Arizona in June. of this year, of last year, not this year. Last year, I left June, so I can still log in. And so I got a really nice parting gift, though, from Underdog. Like 2 of my last 3 slips that I cooked up, and I used the optimizer for this. Let me go to Pick'em here. So 2 of my final 3 slips that I hit on Underdog, I hit this play right here. This was what, in June 18th? I hit this 6-pick slip for a lot of unders for $247, and then for almost $600. This was when the NBA Finals were going on. This was a Jaylen Brown promo. I hit this, and then I hit all lowers on fantasy scores for baseball. These were all unders outside of Jaylen Brown. So I hit for $600. So hit for, my last 2 slips. You can see I'm placing a lot of $10 bets, and then all of a sudden I hit for, a ton of money. So this is kind of a good example, guys, like with my Underdog slips. Like I'll showcase to you guys real quick. Like here's some slips: lose $10, win $2, win $9, win $10, lose 10, lose 10, win 2, win 26, lose 10, lose 10, lose like $40 right here. And then bang, all of a sudden I hit like 2 big ones, and then I moved, and that was it. So I've done well with Underdog. Prize Picks, though, the biggest reason with Prize Picks is because the state of Arizona last year changed their laws. I don't know if it's just an arena state now. I'm not very up to date with Prize Picks and the lingo. But now I can only place 2, 3, and 4 leg entries. So we'll head back over to Prize Picks. And so with Underdog, I don't have that issue. Underdog, I can play any type of slip that I want. With Prize Picks, though, Arizona changed their state laws, so it's not as friendly. I can't place 5 and 6 pick entries over there. Now with Better, I will have access to Better, which I didn't before when I was in Arizona. I just can't play 5 pick entries with insurance. I can only play 5 pick entries without insurance. But I'm excited to be able to access Better and Underdog when I move back to the desert, and that's going to be in May. So coming up, a couple months away. Which I'm not looking forward to packing all my crap up and moving again, but this will hopefully be the last move for a while. But anyways, yeah, so I've had the best results with Underdog for myself. But I also, though, I caught a couple, I probably caught about a month to month and a half of not this past football season, but the one before, of the correlation. I was able to catch that correlation wave a little bit, and that was fun. That was fun. Definitely hit on some slips. I didn't wager the amount that maybe I should have for those correlated slips, but I did catch some of that correlation wave, which was a really good time. I didn't understand it at the time like I do now, how powerful that correlation was. And you can still cook up on Prize Picks some correlated slips. They just have to be 4-pick entries. But, yeah, that was a good time. We do, Big Slim. If you miss 1 or 2, then you get your money back. No 2X. Nice to hear that. It's just if you miss 1 or 2 legs, you just get your money. Thanks, Tanker. Maybe it was something before. I just remember for a short period of time last year, like maybe March or April, I couldn't place 5 or 6 pick entries, and I'm not limited on Prize Picks. So that's good to know, because I would love to be able to get back, to be able to cook up some slips when I get back out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so we're looking at Underdog here at the moment and Prize Picks, but yeah, guys, when I talk about how my profits and how I'm making money as a sports bettor, obviously I don't have access to DFS, so it's a little bit more consistent, okay? And some months run better than others. So to kind of provide you guys, if you're new to sports betting, or if you're looking into sports betting, I'm happy to share with you, the bet tracker. This bet tracker for me, guys, is more of an accurate reflection of my actual results compared to Pickett, because I do utilize a lot of offshore sports books. Pickett does not sync with offshore books. So my Pickett that I show you isn't going to be nearly as profitable because they don't track Bovada. They don't track MyBookie or Juice Bets or any of the offshore books that I use. But this is a more consistent result. This is a really solid month for me. But to be fair, January of last year was a very solid month for me. And so the goal here isn't to brag about how much money I've made. Oh, that's 2023, excuse me. January of 2024. So I've made money 3 straight years in the month of January. And last year and this year has been very profitable for me. But I don't use DFS books. So now I barely made any money in December. This was a tougher month for me. But as you guys can see, this is a more realistic expectation of, some months where I make money, but I go through some losing streaks at times, right? So that's kind of the idea here is that, because I'm not placing a ton of parlays or DFS, placing a bunch of DFS slips, I'm seeing a bit more consistent results. You guys know when you see people that make money with DFS, I would say 2/3 of this calendar is red, but the green days that they have are massive, right? Think about Alex. When he went off on that this past summer, he made like $60K in a day, and that was all in one day. That's a big chunk of it, right? So that's kind of how the roller coaster ride is when it comes to DFS, is that there's, you're going to kind of run through that. Speaking of this, Harden. So we got Harden under on his rebounds already. This is a flip play on his assists. Okay, so this is really good at Pinnacle, but it's not great to FanDuel, and I'm not as interested over at Fliff on betting this because of the fact that it's not great. But this is an R between Bovada and Fliff. Not going to make a ton of money, but you could make some money over here. I might be a little bit more interested. I'm not interested in just any of these. But when I talk about the price chart, guys, when you click into this play, you're going to see some different sports books, and you're going to be able to see their kind of line movement. This is not something else when I bet player props is invaluable to me, because now I can see if a sharp book's moved in a certain direction or if maybe a certain book is stale. So like Pinnacle just set their odds, looks like 7 minutes ago. So I don't have a ton of confidence in this play because there's not a lot of movement behind this. But if I go ahead and pull up, like we talked about maybe Keegan Murray, let's look at like another play that I can maybe showcase. Like maybe Josh Hart. We talked about this play earlier on DraftKings, right? So if I throw this in DraftKings, and let me throw in FanDuel, and I don't know. Let's just start with those books. So you can see that FanDuel has kind of just been chilling with their line here. Pinnacle, over the last 15 hours, they started to move down quite a bit, as you can see with this line graph. Now, DraftKings has moved up recently in the last 2 hours, but they're just kind of now back to this 115 position. Or a book like BetOnline about 4 hours ago, they just kind of, their odds are just flatlined at the moment. So I like to use these graphs and charts to take a look at like where's the money flowing to with some of these plays. That's what I really am interested in looking at if we take a look at maybe Klay Thompson on his points, rebounds, and assists over at Bet365. Looking at this from Bet365 compared to Pinnacle, you can see that Bet365 is, they set their odds, they moved down a little bit, and within the last 4 hours, nothing has changed. But Pinnacle had a massive drop-off right after BetOnline. You could see that BetOnline started to move their price down, but Pinnacle had a big drop-off from minus 103 to minus 127, and now they're all the way down to minus 153. So this would be something I'm like, you know what? Pinnacle's really moving a lot on this play. I want to go after this with Bet365. So if you guys are interested in trying the platinum play and the odds graph, especially when it comes to player props, right? It's hard sometimes just to look at this and say, yeah, you know what? I think there's value here. But if you can start to see where certain books are moving in a direction where that money is flowing to, that helps me as an indicator with betting player props. So anyways, guys, that's just my 2 cents as we're coming in on an hour. We'll go back over some of the DFS books because I know a lot of you guys are interested in the DFS, and I want to make sure I showcase some different books and plays. Favorite offshore, Alex? My favorite offshore is MyBookie and XBet. And the reason being is while I've been limited before by both books, a lot of the offshore sports books, you don't run into limits or too harsh of limits, but they utilize the same odds maker, XBet and MyBookie. So what I love to always say is I'll just sign up with one book, set the other book over on the bench, go crazy on that book, and then once I start to make me feel some limits there, then I have another book that's ready to go, and I just, with the same exact odds, and I utilize them. So that's why I like them. I would say Bovada, though, for sure. So I would say Bovada, MyBookie, and XBet, but really MyBookie and XBet because of that option that you have. Like with FanDuel and Onyx, you have two books that utilize the same odds. So if you start to run into limits with one, then you have another one that's brand new, ready to go. So that would be my those would be my favorites. Arena play bull, yeah, Big Slim, yeah, it is kind of BS. So that's what I was mentioning before. I don't think it was like their classic pick'em. I think it's now Arena. which kind of stinks. But, I mean, I guess it's better than nothing. It's better than where I'm at in Pennsylvania currently, where I can't use it at all. These are some better 5-man entries with insurance if you guys wanted to tail and go after this. And then we'll showcase Prize Picks and Underdog once more. If you guys have enjoyed the stream, you found some value, I will be back on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Odds Jam channel. I'm going to be the morning guy, if you will, the morning show guy. And then tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, if Alex isn't streaming on here, come over to my YouTube channel. It's just at BillyC24. I'll throw that in there. And we're going to be doing the same thing. I will say that over there, there's a lot more offshore sportsbook talk. There's just a lot more. And so I kind of go through a lot of different other plays and tools to utilize. So if you guys want to check that out, come back over there. It's my favorite time, that 6 p.m. Eastern slot, to bet on player props for the NBA. There's a lot of player prop betting. So if you like to bet on player props, you like to me, I might not smash a bunch of plays. I like to talk through the process a bit, talk through why I like these plays, because the idea is I want to teach you guys what I see, what I do, so that you can then use it for yourself. That's kind of the whole point. It's just kind of pass it on and to help others. So, and obviously showcasing too that OddsJam's a pretty cool tool. But a lot of the core principles and foundations that I use, forget OddsJam. It's just you can utilize this with sports betting anywhere you go. It works with all types of sports betting, line shopping, beating the closing line value. These are all, profitable sports betting principles that are going to help you make money. Okay, yeah, not too shabby. Again, guys, you have questions, DM me, email me. Don't hesitate to reach out. A lot of you guys are in the chat I have spoken to before. You guys are all awesome. OGs, D-Gens, I love you. And otherwise, guys, have an awesome Wednesday, and I'll talk to you guys, if nothing else, tomorrow morning. All right, guys, take care.